Hi, dear friends. It is Brianna here from Made Well, and I just wanted to jump in on this Friday afternoon to really just kind of share my heart around a particular topic, scarcity, not enough, and just kind of what we will be journeying with this month if you are following me at all, which you're watching this video, so somehow you are, whether you're in my email list or whether you're on Facebook or Instagram. Whatever, I just wanted to kind of share my heart with you around this topic and kind of why this is important from your health and living and life point of view. And so this idea, I've called this training 3 ways to break the trance of scarcity. And I'm going to talk about scarcity and enoughness because they're very much linked together. And basically, there's this book by Victoria Castle called The Trance of Scarcity. And the Trance of Scarcity, the book really just talks about how we are living in a society of not enough. Whether we are not enough, whether we don't do enough, whether we don't have enough. There's just this constant notion that we're not enough. And in a way, the society thrives on scarcity. In the sense, okay, so for example, if you know that you can only get a certain product at a certain time, you're going to buy it because there's a sort of thing called scarcity where it's like, oh, it's not going to be around, right? And that's good because sometimes it helps people take action, right? So often I close registrations for things or, I may offer something for a short time, not because that's always the way to go, but that's because it just helps people take action. I know that I take action when I know that there's a deadline or that I may not have something, so forth, later on, right? And so I just really wanted to jump in and share that although scarcity can be very helpful in society, even from an economic point of view and all these things, although there can only be one winner in things, scarcity can really mess you up, can really mess a lot of us up. From an early childhood, we have this idea that we just want to be accepted, we want to belong, we want to be cared for. But then there becomes this thing where we feel that we have to actually be a certain way to belong, have to be a certain way to achieve. And that's when scarcity becomes a problem. Hi, whoever joined. Good to see you. Feel free to say hello to those joining now or hopping in later to watch the replay. I'm going to just share this in my group quick. So, with that, I want to share a little bit about my story. And then I'm going to talk about 3 ways, like the ways to break out of scarcity. Basically, I was one of those people who really just wanted to belong. Everyone does. And I just felt that I had to look a certain way to belong, to be beautiful, to be accepted. And I went through a season of, when high school actually, just losing weight because I finally started exercising and doing all those things. And I really came to see that I got a lot of compliments as I started to lose weight. Hi, whoever joined again. Great to have you. Say hello. I got a lot of compliments when I achieved a certain thing in school or in society or in all these different things. And it came to me to say, I have to, who I am is only enough if I am this, if I am this size, if I achieve this. And although that may not have been true and that may not have been communicated to me, that's what I inferred. So that's the truth that I put in my mind. That in order to be enough, I had to do certain things, I had to be certain things, and I had to have certain things. In particular, 3 particular areas that those 3 things manifested itself in food, my relationship with food, my body, and myself. And so really starting to see that I began to see food as a way to be, how I manage food as a way to be accepted. If I ate less, exercised more, my body was a certain way, therefore I belonged, I was enough. But then there became a point where I actually got way too skinny. Way too skinny for my body structure. Because I actually was not eating enough and I was exercising too much. I was what we would call anorexic. I was. Now, I started to see food as a foe, like it is an enemy. It's not something that I can go to because it's going to get me, no, I'm not going to feel like enough, I'm not going to be accepted. Now, turn of events is that I started to really, I'm sorry that this is so long. I just want to show you why this is important so I can frame the whole month for you. I won't take too much of your time. I started to see that, and everyone started to notice that, hey, you're too small for your body structure. It was just apparent. So I saw a nutritionist, but I should have known I needed more help than practically just to eat food. When I went to the nutritionist, I was bawling. Because guess what? It wasn't about the food. It was about that deeper thing of feeling like I had to look and be a certain way to be enough. And actually, there was situations going on in my life that I couldn't control, that I thought, hey, I can control my food. That was one thing. It was brokenness. That's where most repeated habitual patterns come from. But then the opposite thing happened is that later on, again, I wanted to achieve. I was up in valedictorian, all these things. And I went to food for comfort, the complete opposite. And I gained back all the weight. And with that came so much shame, so much guilt, so much feeling just like worthless, that my value, just like, how could I do that? How could I lose all that weight and gain it all back? Like, that doesn't make sense. But again, food became a friend, comfort. But again, it was not about the food. It was about the stress I was feeling. And the only way to manage it was that. So my relationship with food, my relationship with my body, all these different things went down deeper to the fact that I felt like I felt so much shame, guilt, that I wasn't enough. I wasn't doing enough, wasn't being enough. And that became my reality. That became my story. And so fast forward to college, I kind of repeated that pattern. I just studied for the first couple years. I didn't really socialize a whole lot till I met Jesus. I'm just saying it. That might not be your story. That's mine. And I remember the particular point, nearly 10 years ago, 2009, October, there was a conference where I saw tons of college students my age worshiping God, just like receiving his love. And I remember for the first time understanding that God's love covered my shame, covered my guilt, and made me enough. And I was a Christian for a long time. And so realizing that, broke down, really openly shared with my staff work at the time, hey, I struggle with this. And from there, just went on this journey of healing that it wasn't until 3 years later that I really things started to click. I moved back. I was still going through some healing, knowing that I was enough and wanting women to know that they were enough. So I started a bunch of different small groups, in particular Women of Worth, we studied women in the Bible and how Jesus approached them and really just valued them. And that I always knew I wanted to be a coach, I think, from that point, and really just show women their worth and their value and their enoughness, especially how God says that about them. It wasn't until I moved back that I really felt God was saying, it is time, in particular with food and all this, that you need to restore that. And so I went on this journey, and over the last 5 years, I've just gotten to the place where my relationship with food, my body, and myself, still working on the myself part, is restored. And it's being restored. I'm not who I used to be, and I can manage those relationships a lot better. And when I'm not feeling like enough, I now know that instead of going to these unhealthy mechanisms to deal with that, I'm going to deal with that with the raw pain of it all, right? And then, in the last year, really seeing that, okay, I handled that in food, my body, and myself, but then there's this actually relationship with my career and feeling like successful as an entrepreneur, and this relationship with money. And so I realized that the underlying issue that I had with a lot of these things, not feeling like I managed money enough, not feeling like I was great enough in relationships, all these different things, was this underlying problem of scarcity and not being and doing and having enough. Always feeling like I needed to do more, always feeling like I had to just be better, work harder, all these things. And for the first time, yesterday, I was actually preparing for everything for the month, and I started to feel this a lot. I'm like, of course I'm going to feel this as I'm processing this, because it's the deeper work. I'm always about the deeper work. I am about helping people in their physical health. You all know that, Whole 30 all the way, and all these areas. But the deeper work is that I really want to help women master their thoughts, emotions, and habits so that they can have the health and life they've always dreamed of. And often that starts with this feeling of worthiness and not being enough. And so 3 ways to break this trance of scarcity, this feeling that I am not enough. I don't have enough. I don't do enough. First thing, hey Maria, good to see you. I'm going to talk to you soon on the Whole30 call. First thing, acknowledge it. That is the first step to any transformation, is to acknowledge that there is a problem, that you struggle, and that it's okay. There is grace. And so we're back to that story with my staff worker at the time, confessing to her, say, hey, I struggle with eating and just my relationship with food, and it links to my relationship with feeling like I'm not enough, all these things. And her just being gracious and like, God loves you and God wants to meet you in that. So there's this first thing of acknowledgement, and then there's this thing of grace that goes with it, that it is okay to struggle. It is okay to struggle. It is okay to struggle. And I'm going to say it because it's okay to admit, hey, I don't feel like enough. It's okay to admit, I don't think I did enough, and that's why this happened. Because there is tons of grace for you and for me. So the first way to really break that trance of scarcity is to acknowledge that you struggle with it, and then to accept the grace at the same time. But there's one thing then to acknowledge it and accept that, we're not perfect. Really, that's what we're trying to be. The second thing is to rewrite your story. Now, when I mean rewrite your story, you'll find a lot of this when we talk about mindset, about scarcity, abundance, growth, fixed mindset, is that there's one thing to acknowledge where you are, but how can you get to where you want to be? Is to rewrite your story, right? And that is practically, one, acknowledging it, right? And so writing down a statement. So I don't feel like I'm enough in this area. So maybe a statement about yourself is, I really struggle to see myself as beautiful. Maybe your statement is, I am not beautiful. How would you rewrite that? It is something called affirmations. That's one way that we do. And I'll talk about this in a little bit, but the No Flaw Masterclass that is coming up both online and in person, we're going to work on creating awesome affirmations that speak to the ways that you need it. And so the first, so I am not beautiful. If that's the statement that you're acknowledging. 2 is to rewrite it. Now, what are you going to rewrite it to say? It could be simple. I am beautiful. You can make it as exquisite and as potent as you want. I am more than beautiful. I'm extravagant. I'm breathtaking. I'm gorgeous. Whatever exuberant way, whatever you don't think you are, you need to say it, right? So you can add adjectives and all that. And actually in the No Flaw Masterclass, online on the 19th, in person on the 15th, I'm going to give you some step-by-step guidelines on how to write affirmations. And then locally, we're actually going to write them on some pretty paper. And then, so the third thing, so the first we said is to acknowledge it and give yourself grace that you struggle with this idea of scarcity and not being, doing, or having enough. Now, the second thing is to rewrite your story. And I think practically we do that through affirmations. Write it out. Third thing, now this is where the transformation is going to happen, is to speak that truth every day. And so your thoughts have power. Your thoughts actually can lead to emotions, then can lead to habits. As a man thinketh, so is he. If you think that you are not beautiful, if you think that you're never going to have enough money, if you think that you're always going to struggle with eating or exercise, then I'm going to tell you, guess what? You will always feel that way, and you will always struggle. Because your mind is creating a reality. You're telling yourself a truth that is actually a lie, but you're creating this reality. And so what you need to do is to say, hey, I am not beautiful, but hey, no, I am beautiful. I'm extravagant. And then the third thing is, I'm going to keep saying this all the time. I'm going to look in the mirror and say, Brianna Wilkerson, you are breathtaking. Boom. Hashtag boom. Brianna Wilkerson, you got it made. Whatever, and speak it. And one practical way I do this, some people write them up and post them everywhere, affirmation cards, post-it notes, is that I have an app called Think Up on my phone. that you can record 4 affirmations for free and have it play back to you, and you can write them out, record it to your own voice. You can select ones. Now the beauty is, I think you need to record it and write it out to your own voice, is that when you don't feel like that statement is true, you are hearing your own voice say, this is true. This is true. This is true. And then it begins to shift your thoughts and shift your emotions. So then you are then starting to act like it's true. Right? Because let's say this beautiful thing, let's just stick on this. When I acknowledged, I'm going to be very honest. So I acknowledged, mine wasn't really beautiful, but in the sense that, okay, I did struggle with that. But like right now, wanting to walk in the power that I am successful, I am a CEO of my business, I started dressing up more. I started putting on lipstick. Not because I believe lipsticks or dressing up defined me, but I wanted to be like, no, Brianna, look, you are beautiful. You are successful. You dress up a little bit, girl. Whatever. Sometimes I definitely don't. If you see me on, like yesterday, it was in my other shorts. Anyways, but it started to shift. I started to change my habit when I started to walk. Like, how would CEOs dress? How would whatever dress? I started to change what I dress because I started to believe things. I started to shift how I dress. And the same thing is, I'll talk about this. Nikki and I talk about this on the podcast that are coming out this month, where, she mentions this story around bathing suits. And just like, she immediately told herself, I shouldn't be allowed to wear this bathing suit at the beach. So what did she do? She's like, no. She bought the bathing suit. She's like, I'm gonna wear it. Practically, sometimes it takes practically changing, right? So let's recap. If you've stayed this long, this is some juicy stuff, so I'm glad you stayed this long. 3 ways to break scarcity is to acknowledge and give yourself grace that you struggle with feeling, doing, or having enough. Just acknowledge it, give yourself grace. And once it takes a while to get there. Once you're there, though, that's a great place to be. The second thing is to rewrite your story. That is how you currently see yourself, but we don't want to always see ourselves this way, so we need to rewrite it, and that's through affirmations or positive statements about yourself or scriptures. The third thing is to speak that truth every day or whenever you need to hear it, and one way I do that is using an app so that it can play it for me when I don't feel like saying it, right? And so I would love to hear from you, whoever sticked around, and those watching the replay, or if you're watching this on YouTube, where in your life do you have this trance of scarcity? Are you struggling to really feel like you are, do, and have enough? Is it with food? Is it with your body? Is it with your finances? Is it in your career, your relationship with God, your purpose, your vocation? Whatever it is, share with us. You can, if you're watching this on YouTube, put in the comments. If you're watching this in an email, hit reply. If you're watching this on Facebook, please let me know. Just share it. That's the first step. Then the first step is done. Then I'm going to walk you through the second step after you tell me what the first step is. Then I'm going to show you how to do the third step. I just really encourage you. It is time you break free. It is time we acknowledge that we were made in the image of God, which is beautiful. Oh man, that's not even, we can go there for a long time. I'll give you a whole sermon on that. And it's time we start owning our value and our worth. It is time. And so what I want to do, all of this comes together, is that this month in March, it is Women's Month apparently, but it's perfect timing. I'm going to take you through this. So on my podcast, there are going to be 5 episodes, probably 2 released next week, and then one every other week, one every week after that I did a series with Nicole Trance, blogger at Eggs and Donuts and fitness coach. Yep, she wanted me to say coach, not trainer. Forgot what it was. Where we talk about this stuff. Her and I have very similar struggles in this area. And then you're just going to hear a conversation. She's one of my good friends. You're just going to hear a conversation with it. And then what I did is created a little journal with some reflection questions from our time that we talked. We particularly talked about no flaw, like acknowledging what a flaw is, acknowledging our stories, restoring our relationship with food, body, ourselves. Then I mentioned how you can move from feeling flawed to flourishing in your life. And then the 6-month program I have around that. And so that is the first thing. Just journey with us in this reflection. It's going to be really much listening but then reflecting. But then there are two particular instances where you can jump on live with me, either in person or on Zoom online. And we are going to talk about this and really create change. Give yourself space to really unpack this, but create change in the version of affirmations and essential oil blends. There is this class that doTERRA has called I Am Fabulous that we are going to create blends around I am whole, releasing baggage, I am enough, abundance, all these different things. So if you're here locally, come to the local class because I'm providing all the supplies to make them. Online, just because I'm not with you, I'm going to still share the recipes with you and share the affirmation templates with you. But you're just going to have to get the oils yourself. Or if you have the oils, great, you can go and make them. But if not, I'm a wellness advocate for doTERRA. I can tell you how to get the oils. Because emotional aromatherapy is real. Essential oils have superpower, and whenever you smell can shift your emotions and thoughts, right? So that's why I'm combining both the affirmations and the oils together, and that's going to be called the No Flaw Masterclass. It is available $37 USD for the online one on the March 19th, and locally 55 CI on March 15th. And it's just more locally because of giving the actual resources and to cover overhead of the building. And so you have the podcast and the journal for reflection, a time one-on-one one-on-one in a group with me, either on March 19th or on March 15th. But then I'm also on March 19th going to open up my 6-month program around all of this, around really helping you shift from less to more, helping you go from not feeling like enough or doing or having enough to rocking it and knowing you are enough and flourishing in every area of your health and life. So if you're ready for that deep transformation, it is a group coaching program / one-on-one. There's a private Facebook group. There's trainings. It's accountability. It's everything I love to do and everything that I do all in one place. And so registration for that opens March 19th. But if you're interested, I can put you on the wait list. So what you need to do to go find out about all of this is go to madewell345.com/noflaw, and you can grab the free journal and be updated when the podcast episodes come out. You can sign up for the master classes from now because there's only 20 spots locally, 10 online. And you can even join the waiting list for the long-term program. So if you are ready to break this trance of scarcity, move from not being enough to more than enough, this month is for you. This was a longer training than expected, but this is the core of the work that I do. It's funny because a lot of clients, even from a health coaching point of view, I can tell you practically all these things, but I do a lot of mindset, emotion, and habits work with my clients because that's where true transformation has happened for me, and I see it when that happens for others. So that's it from me. Go to madewell345.com/noflaw, and I hope you join us this month as we really move to this place of abundance and enough in our lives, and share it. If you know any women that would benefit from any of what I just talked about, share this video, share the link, share it all, because it's time. It's time that we really acknowledge as women who we are, walk in our power, walk in our worth and value, and show up how we were meant to show up in the world. Blessings upon you. Thanks whoever stayed. You're awesome. I'm going to go work on a class I have for tomorrow, but I hope you're well. I hope you guys feel free. This is my heart. I just got to say this is so my heart. Please let me know one area that you're really struggling to feel like you're enough in, and then join us. madewell345.com/noflaw. Bye friends. Bye.